Greetings, travelers. It's Ed Gates
Hello.
here, and Paul's here with me right now. I don't have to start the show by myself anymore. I got Paul right here next to me.
Yeah.
All right. So, welcome to our new polished version of Travel Talk Live with Paul and Ed. I'm Ed Gates with Getaway Gang Cruise Planners, and Paul's right here next to me. Hi, Paul.
I'm Paul Gamber with Cruise Planners Getaway Gang. Woohoo!
Hey, man! I just saw your post earlier today about the dollar deposits at Princess. That's fantastic.
I know it's going to come and go fast. So if you're interested in Princess anytime soon, get in touch with me tonight because it's a 1 day only.
Yeah, it's only today. So if you're watching this and you're like, "Holy crap, I was thinking about doing a Princess cruise,"
Get in
because
touch.
I like do that every day. I wake up like, "Wow, I want to go on Princess." Give Paul a call or give me a call or shoot me a quick text. Says I want to freaking book this thing for $1, and there's some great savings too. So check it out. So
And
as we mentioned, this is our new format of Travel Talk Live. It's not really live, but we're doing it live, so we're going to call it live still. We're going to be recording this right before we go on, so there's not going to be much editing, but we are going to be posting this on Facebook. Not only Facebook, though, but we're going to be multi-platform. So you'll be able to see this episode also on our new YouTube channel, as well as maybe some other social media down the road. Like maybe Twitter, LinkedIn, wherever you guys are, we're going to try to be there too.
That's right.
So yeah, real quick before we get started with today's show, we're going to be talking today about today's our destination show. We do a destination special on the second or third Tuesday of every month. We're going to try to get back into our regular schedule now, but since it's right before Thanksgiving, we're going to talk about two great destinations in the Pacific, since we focused on the Atlantic last time on where the Paul and Ed cruise is going to go. We wanted to talk about something that's been selling like hotcakes lately. We've had so many orders just recently for a couple spring break and cruises next year, and we've sold a bunch this year already. And that's the 3 and 4 night cruises out of LA, Long Beach, San Pedro on Carnival. Is it San Pedro or? It's Long Beach. That's right, Long Beach. The San Pedro is where the Norwegian Joy is stationed, right?
Everyone except Carnival uses Port of LA and San Pedro. Carnival is exclusive there in Long Beach.
So. Long Beach. And it's got a fantastic terminal, but they go to two locations pretty exclusively and pretty regularly, and that is Catalina Island and
Ensenada.
Ensenada. I was going to get it right this time.
Sorry.
I got to remember, it's like empanadas, and you know me and food.
That's right.
I'll remember it now forever.
Yeah, in fact, they're going to both of those ports a couple times a week because they have two ships that are doing 4 nights and 3 nights back to back to back to back. So there's a lot of chances to visit Catalina and Ensenada on these ships on Carnival, and it's a lot of fun. I just did one a couple weeks ago. Had a little technical difficulties, couldn't go live from the ship, but I have actually shown some footage and did a video with my mom a few months ago that maybe I'll repost in the group too, which was a lot of fun on that trip to Ensenada. So
yeah, and my mom actually went on that cruise earlier this year in February. She went there and she just absolutely loved Catalina. It's a neat island. We're going to talk about those two destinations. There's a lot more destinations in the Pacific. There's the Nixon Riviera, things like that. But these two are on these cruises and they're very frequently visited by Carnival. So we're going to focus on those today. But before I do that, I want to remind you all that we are still running our November month-long fundraiser for Alzheimer's Association. We are at $175. Woo!
yeah.
We're going to try to get, we're really trying to get to 500. That's our goal. We set that for the entire month. And if you can, please donate whatever you can, 5, 10, 15, 30, 100, whatever you can throw towards Alzheimer's research and Alzheimer's center, just research and treatment and things like that. They do a great job of making sure that money goes where it needs to go to make some great advancements. Please donate. And Paul will send a reminder tomorrow with the link too, so that we
absolutely. I'm going to talk about it.
Try to get a last minute push here. And you know what?
We've only got 4 days left in the month, so
Yeah, I hate to do that. Hate to maybe stretch out this episode, Paul, but I know it's the week of Thanksgiving.
no, that's okay.
So we need to give a little bit of thanks here, and
I
so
completely agree.
I'm going to give thanks first of all to you for bringing me on board to or talking to me about it, and then agreeing to let me come on board. I should say. And be part of this amazing organization, Cruise Planners. I'm just, it's been so much fun to do something that we love so much, make a little money at it, and do some travel, and all in the name of making sure everybody else can experience these as well. So this is like, it's been probably one of the most fun years I've ever had of anything that I've called work. So thank you for that, and that's something I got to be I'm going to be thankful for the rest of the year, and until we keep on going.
I got to turn that right back around on you and agree 100%. And it's been a lot of hard work. There's no doubt about it, and it continues to be. There's always something new to learn. There's always a call to make. There's always a connection to make and follow up on. But you're right. It's not like work even, because that's why we're the Getaway Gang. We've always loved to travel together and apart, but together more recently, and just to have the opportunity to plan that travel for our friends, our family, our clients, and our what could be more fun? What could be more awesome? And I'll say, and I may post something a little more specific about this, but it has been a fantastic month for our agency. And I want to say thank you to all of you, all of our group members, all of our clients, people who have booked travel with us, people who are part of our group. Thank you again, because we couldn't do it without you. So here's to, I'm very thankful for 2019 and all that's brought, and I'm looking forward to just even more growth and fun next year. So thank you.
Right on.
And thank you, Eddie.
Thank you, Paul.
Oh, thank you.
All right, guys, we're going to get down to the nitty gritty of our show now. So we're going to start with, I'm going to start talking about Catalina Island. If you've ever been to Southern California, been near Long Beach, Huntington Beach, anywhere in Orange County, any of the beaches in Orange County, you'll see it right there off the coast. It's just this little island off in the distance. Sometimes you won't see it because the smog's so bad, but that's LA for you. But no, most days you can see Catalina Island lurking off the coast of Southern California. It's one of the Channel Islands, and it's off the coast, and it's about 22 miles long and 8 miles wide. It's pretty close to the LA area, so most places can see it. But it feels worlds away when you get over there. It's a small scale, nostalgic, slow paced little sleepy town, everything that Los Angeles isn't. So it's a neat area. It's got an irregular coastline all the way around with tons of coves, beaches, bluffs, just a lot of neat things. And then there's valleys inside of it, and 2,000 feet peaks. It's just a neat little island. It's got one major town, Avalon, and that's pretty much the center where all the activities are and the nightlife on the islands there, where all the resorts are. And Avalon brings to mind, it's very Mediterranean locales. It's very similar to Amalfi, Italy, or a French type resort town. So it's very Mediterranean feel there. Catalina's been a little bit about the background on Catalina. It's been inhabited for about 7,000 years, actually. When contact was made there by the Europeans, inhabitants, they called themselves, I'm going to screw this up. Is it Pemugans, Paul?
I can't say I'm an expert in pronunciation.
I would probably get a guess, Pimigans or Pimovit. I know my wife is watching this right now. She's going, yeah, get it.
I would guess Pemungans.
Pemungans. Well,
or Pimovit.
I think it's Pimovits.
Yes.
And Pimigans. Anyway, the natives traded with the nearby areas via canoe. Since very little grows on the island. It's an arid island, just like South California, Southern California as well. Very arid. So they would use canoes to do trading up and down the coast. The Spaniards were there first, and diseases as usual. Whenever you have the Europeans coming over here into a delicate ecosystem. European diseases wiped out many of the natives, and by the 1820s, most of them had moved to the mainland and joined other Native American groups. And actually, this is a neat story that I found out at the Biltmore Hotel in Arizona. The majority interest in the island was gained by William Wrigley Jr. You'll know him from Wrigley Gum and Wrigley Stadium and the Wrigley Mansion in Arizona, which is right next to the Biltmore Museum or Biltmore Resort. In the Wrigley Mansion, it is loaded with Catalina tile, and Catalina tile is this light blue tile that was made on the island of Catalina. And who had a majority stake in that company? Of course, William Wrigley Jr., the chewing gum magnate. So he's got a strong, rich history with Catalina. He's got a rich history with Arizona and Chicago. So Wrigley is a big deal. Yeah. Wrigley envisioned the island become a major vacation spot. He thought, even though it never came true, it was popular for a little time with wealthy Californians and Hollywood stars for a short period of time. Sure. The only way to get to Catalina is by boat. There are ferries that you could take from Long Beach, San Pedro, Dana Point, Newport Beach, and then there's also there's also, of course, the cruise ships that we talked about. Carnival has a 3-day and a 4-day that stops in Catalina. And there's a nice port there in Avalon. Helicopter service is available out of Long Beach, too. You can take a helicopter over there in San Pedro. Cruise ships sailing out of Los Angeles usually anchor in Avalon Bay, as I mentioned, or the main side of Catalina, along the main side of Catalina. And they tender the passengers. There's not a dock there. They tender to Green Pleasure Pier on the boat or the ferry landing. Both docks are within walking distance to one another in the heart of Avalon. In addition to Avalon Bay, smaller boats anchor at one of the several coves at two harbors on the west end of the island. The Visitors Bureau is located on Green Pleasure Pier, along with an ATM, a payphone, and an internet kiosk.
What's a payphone?
I don't know. I haven't seen one in years. But it's funny, if it's a sleepy town like you said it is here, it's going to be have a payphone. Exactly. I would be disappointed if it didn't. Exactly. Carnival Cruise Lines, Celebrity Cruise Lines, Princess Cruise Lines, and Holland America and Royal Caribbean Cruise all dock at Catalina Island. So some things you might want to check out when you're in Catalina. It's got some great trails and hiking, some great views on both sides of the island from 2 harbors. And then the Chimes Tower is neat. The Green Pleasure Pier, you've got to check that out. There's a couple of museums there. The Island History at the Catalina Island Museum is a memorable one. Some good meals, Mountain View at DC3 Gifts and Grill, and then breakfast at the Cottage Restaurant is also highly recommended. If you're looking for nightlife, Avalon's the place to be. There's the Catalina Casino, and then there's the Chi-Chi Club, which is pretty popular. So check that out if you're ever there at nighttime. I'm not sure how long the stay is on the cruise lines.
I don't think over there at night. I was going to say too, don't get excited because the casino is just a building and it's not an actual casino. So
okay, it's a landmark casino.
Right. It's a casino in the original meaning of the word, not in the gambling hall meaning of the word. But it's a really neat building. And if you've seen pictures of Avalon and Catalina, you can't miss it. It's the big round Italianate sort of building there. So
yeah. And I'm going to wrap this up here. The Jewels of Avalon Tile walking tour is a stroll through is awesome. And then there's a stroll through native desert flora at the Wrigley Memorial and Botanical Gardens. So you got to check that out. And there's tons of stuff to do for the kids too. So if you bring your kids, There's water sports. There's snorkeling. There's playing on the beach. There's a guided tour that explores animal habitats and learning about endangered animals on the island at the Nature Center at Avalon Canyon is always something that kids just love to hear about. So check that out. Before I hand this off to Paul, a couple fun facts we dug up on Catalina. Apparently, Marilyn Monroe lived on the island for a year and a half during World War II with her then husband, James Daugherty, or is it Daugherty? A lieutenant in the Merchant Marine was stationed at the in Avalon. So Catalina is home to the oldest fishing club in the U.S. The Tuna Club, founded in 1898, aims to protect regional game fish while honoring the sport of fishing. Members have included Theodore Roosevelt, Winston Churchill, Cecil B. DeMille, Charlie Chaplin, and Bing Crosby. More than 500 films, TV shows, and commercials have been filmed on the island along its coastline, including The Ten Commandments, Ben-Hur, Mutiny on the Bounty, Jaws, and The Thin Red Line. And last quick fact, Avalon's golf course was first built in 1892. Wow. It's the oldest course in Southern California.
So if you're
there you go. A lot of fun stuff going on in Catalina. It's been on my list to check out Catalina ever since I lived there. It's so funny. I've lived there for 6 years in Orange County, and I always wanted to go, and I never made it out there.
Well, and I admit, you too, I have not made it either, and it's on my list. In fact, I won't say when, but it's not official yet. But in January or February, I'm pretty sure I may be taking that 4-day cruise out of Long Beach, and I'm going to do some good exploration of Catalina if I can make that happen. So,
that'll be great, man. I'd love to hear you cover that. Maybe we can work in our Queen Mary our stay as well, so we can get on
need to do that. And you know, Steph and I, with our friends that were on the Imagination last weekend. Time goes by so fast. 2 weekends ago. Here recently, you know, the Long Beach port sits right there where the Queen Mary is parked. I mean, we can look right out of off the Carnival ship and see the Queen Mary right next to you. And I was like, man, I can't believe it's been over a year since we were foiled by that power outage. And yeah, we need to make that happen. So.
If those of you who haven't seen it, I posted a little quick video one time as a funny. I think I reposted it right around Halloween about our little adventure there. There's also a blog post about that called When Vacations Go Wrong, because they do every now and then. You got to be prepared. So sorry about that shameless self-plug.
No, that's fine. That's good.
Paul's going to tell us a little bit more about Ensenada.
All right, let's talk about Ensenada. Now, I have been to Ensenada. I was just there recently, actually. We'll start with some general facts about Ensenada. You know, the funny thing is the popular legend about Ensenada is that it was built around a bar. There's a very famous bar there called Husong's Cantina. It's been there since 1892, drawing revelers to it. But really, the economic mainstays have always been and still are fishing, and then wineries in the local areas are what are the mainstays to the Ensenada economy. So, of course, a visit to Husong's Cantina is something you should definitely do while you're there as well. Most of the tourism dollars come from the U.S., from really revelers, partygoers who either drive across the border, which it's only 65 miles south of San Diego, so you can drive there, and of course a lot from cruise ships, mostly on Carnival that visits there regularly. So it really still has more of a low-key and kind of true Mexican flavor. It's got reasonably priced restaurants and shops and hotels, although cruise ship tourism is kind of catching up to that a little bit. But I would say it's still a bit of an enclave of Mexican culture and cuisine, and it's safer than some other border towns that you may visit. So that's a real plus. Something you may not know is Ensenada is not a beach town. It doesn't have, you know, a bustling boardwalk like you might find in Puerto Vallarta or something like that. It's a little bit more low-key, friendly, and authentic. You know, it's a fishing village that has grown where its tourism has grown a bit. So it does serve as a gateway to the Baja Peninsula, and it's considered one of the best sport fishing ports anywhere in the Pacific. Downtown Ensenada faces the Todos Santos Bay, known as it's All Saints Bay, which curves around the waterfront Boulevard Lazaro Cardenas. And forgive me for butchering Spanish, but not much. I'll do my best. Most of the restaurants and the shops and such are geared towards tourists. That are geared towards tourists. There are along that waterfront area, which is 1 block inland, and it's pretty close to the cruise ship dock there. The best beaches, if you really got to have a beach, are about a 15-minute drive south of Ensenada. And also the Islas Todos Santos, which are a pair of islands, are located 2 hours offshore by boat. And it's they're famous for surfing. So probably wouldn't have time to do that on a cruise ship visit, but if you are driving down there, those are the spots to hit for surfing enthusiasts. So a little history. I could go on and on about the history of Ensenada, but really things started to pick up in the 20th century when there was a paved road built between Tijuana and Ensenada, and that really helped a steady growth from U.S. tourists. It did serve as a Mexican military base town during World War II, which brought a lot of migration in from interior parts of Mexico. And then more recently, a lot of Californians started building vacation homes around Ensenada, and has really boosted the economy and through that. So a little about getting to Ensenada and accessibility. I mentioned before, it's 65 miles south of the border. It's an easy drive from Southern California. Well, easy when there's not traffic, right? They have a 3-berth cruise dock there, a 3-berth cruise ship dock. Forgive me. And so they can actually have 3 ships in at once, and you walk right off the ship. It's not a tender port. They have a nice big dock. It's right in the center of the downtown waterfront. I'll post a couple pictures in the group. I have some great ones. They have a ginormous Mexican flag, probably the biggest flag of any kind I've ever seen, waving over the port there. It's really neat. Cruises call on Ensenada several times a week. They generally come from Long Beach, as we talked about, also from San Diego some. Cruise Port Village is a multi-purpose center there, right at the foot of the dock. It has some vendors, jewelry and craft, and liquor stores, and tourist sort of stands. It's an easy walk around that area and through from the ship to Ensenada's most interesting sites. It has some famed curiosity shops, and it's an easy walk from the pier. So highly recommend that you get off the ship. I know our ship was there for about 9 or 10 hours, so you have a nice long day for exploring either on your own or taking a shore excursion. So a few highlights that you don't want to miss in terms of sights: the fabulous views of the harbor and the city. As I mentioned, one of the largest flags you'll ever see. There is something famous called, it's an ocean geyser called La Bufadora that's nearby, that a trip to is a must if you can. The Valle de Guadalupe wine region is in the area, as I mentioned, and there are some great tours of that and sampling tours. World-class sport fishing, surfing, and windsurfing. Some excellent museums as well, the Museo del Puerto and then the History Museum in Ensenada, a couple history museums actually. One of my favorite things is eating fish tacos at one of the fish stands there. You can't beat them. I highly recommend the fish market and the fish tacos there. Late night, visiting Husong's Cantina, of course, if you happen to be there late at night before the cruise ship pulls out, or if you're there, lots of music and dancing around. Some beautiful walks, strolling along the La Ventana del Mar, which is called the window to the sea park, or that ocean-facing boulevard. For the kids, there are some great go-kart activities and amusement center activities too, if your kids are looking for something for them. So a lot going on, and you can have a full fun day when you're visiting Ensenada.
I'm intrigued by those curiosidades.
Yes, I know. Me too.
I wonder what you find in a Mexican curiosity shop. That makes me That makes me want to go check that out just by itself.
I didn't pop into any last time I was there, but when we go together, we'll be doing that, I'm
We're
sure.
going to find them, yeah.
Absolutely.
Back with a shrunken head or something.
Well, I'll wrap up my part here in a minute with a couple fun facts about Ensenada. But in case I forget, because I don't want to forget, all of the stuff we talk about here, we have just pages. We have these wonderful destination guides that we can provide you. If you're interested in going, they are rich with information, like 10, 20 pages worth of information that we can offer you. If you're interested in these two places or any place you might be visiting, let us know. We'll send you.
Even if you didn't book with us, please. Just if you're driving to a town and and you want to know a little bit more about it, give us a call and say, hey, what do you got on these places, or what do you got along the way? We can put together a nice little triptych for you, or some kind of a destination guide for you.
You can't call it a triptych because that's from one of our competitors.
But or anywhere you're going, we're not going to make you feel bad if you book with somebody else. Crap happens, but we'll definitely hook you up.
We want to be your resource.
Yeah, we are your resource.
A couple fun things about Ensenada that I didn't know about. There was a fellow named Filibuster William Walker who actually invaded Baja California in 1853 and declared it the Republic of Lower California. He made Ensenada his headquarters, and at that time there was only one house in town in which he lived. He wanted to annex Lower California to the U.S. as a slave state before the Civil War. Obviously that failed, thank goodness. So another famous local character was named Poker Charlie, who lived in the 1890s in Ensenada when it was still a frontier town, and he claimed to own the only kangaroo racehorse, which is a mix of coyote and burro. That sounds interesting.
Interesting, yes.
If you're thinking about visiting Ensenada, the tourist high seasons obviously tend to correspond with the high seasons in the U.S. around holidays, summer months, July 4th, Labor Day, spring break, that sort of thing, because most of the tourism there is from the United States, almost exclusively. So, and interesting, earlier I mentioned the Todos Santos Islands. They've actually hosted the most famous surfing contest in the world, Billabong, several times, because they have waves in excess of 50 feet. For you metric folks, that's 17 meters. They're very common there of that big, and the largest anywhere along the Pacific coast. So just some interesting fun facts about Ensenada that we thought you might enjoy.
Oh, great. Well, Paul, thanks for that information on Ensenada.
Yeah, thank you.
Guys enjoyed our informational show today. We'll be back after the holidays, after Thanksgiving. So I wish you guys all a very, very happy Thanksgiving. Next Tuesday will be our end of the month show, which is where we do a Q&A. That's next Tuesday. Is that the 30th, Paul?
That's actually next. No, we don't have another Tuesday this month.
No, you're right. So we're going to be December.
Yeah,
so
we're on
our news show.
Yeah, we're on to December, and so we'll be on to our travel industry news on our next show.
That's right. Okay, so tune in for that. Also, if you've been watching, thank you so much for watching. And just want to remind you, if you forgot to comment this time, we are available for comments. You can either comment below if you're watching on YouTube, or comment in the watch party, or however we're going to be doing this. But we will be available, answering your calls right away. If you got something you want us to talk about on a future episode of Travel Talk Live with Paul and Ed, please shoot us a text, or shoot us a private message, or comment below. And make sure you hit a like for us too, the like button, or give us some thumbs up. Let us know you like what we're doing. We love doing it for you guys, and thanks again for watching.
Yeah, and I want to say too, when this goes on YouTube, which it will, I'll post our information on the screen. Make sure if you see this on YouTube, join our Facebook group. All you got to do is search for Travel with Paul and Ed. I'll post a link here as well, and how you can get in touch with us. We'd love to.
Yeah, if you're watching on YouTube too, got to subscribe. So, because we're going to have a lot of more content besides just this show coming up on our YouTube channel. So if you're in our VIP group and you're watching this on our VIP group, go over to the YouTube and subscribe.
Cross-pollinate for us.
There we go.
All right, guys. Happy Thanksgiving, and we'll see you again next week. Thanks again.
All right. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.